Well, today is Wednesday, and we all know what that means. That means right now we are in AEW's Dynamite's Grand Slam. As you know, they return back to Arthur Ashe. I'm so excited because a lot of the title matches will be on the line. This is huge, and not to mention, uh, I was like so amazed with everything taking place. But before that, we're going to review a much recent event that took place on the 17th of September. This one is called Republic of Lucha, called Dolores. This was a match that was basically was created by none other than the current um, AEW Trios champions, the Lucha Brothers. So this is something that they put together. So I'm excited to review for all of it. And of course, we got some news updates that we definitely got to be talking about what's been going on in the world of pro wrestling. So let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to the Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, Gerard here. So let's begin with Republic of Lucha with Dolores. Basically, this is something that the title Dolores has something to do with Mexican independence, and it would be a perfect fitting. This location took place down in Pasadena, California, which is in the LA area. So, and I, like I said before, this took place on the 17th of September. Now it opened up with the Minis taking the stage. We have Demus versus Mascarita Dorada. As you know, can tell this was one of those matches. If you guys are not fans of the Minis, I've been a big fan of the Minis since I was a kid, watching it with CML. But it was great to see Mascarita Dorada. Those who don't know Mascarita Dorada, he was known as El Torito back in WWE, which was really a fun time for everyone if you guys are fans of that. But I have to say the match was very, very aggressive, but it was, of course, Demos who decided to take Mascarita Dorada outside the ring, try to soften him up much as possible in order for him to win the match. But however, he did a somewhat of a version of a C4 spike on him in order to win the match. Next up, we got the ladies taking place. We have Lady Flamer from AAA, also a member of the Toxicas, which is an all-female faction, taking on La Güera Loca, Taya Valkyrie. Now, this is one of those matches where you know there's going to be a lot of history. Now, keep in mind, Lady Flamer would love nothing more to dismantle Taya Valkyrie since she is the current AAA Reina de Reinas champion. But however, it did not go exactly to plan for her because it did ended with her being at the wrong end of the road to Valhalla, and that's how she won her match. Next match, we have a three-way match. We have Black Taurus versus Willie Mack versus Brian Cage. Now, this is one of those matches you know this will be good. Now, if you guys ever seen Willie Mack and Brian Cage duke it out and back in Lucha Underground, you know what I'm talking about. Black Taurus, we have seen him a lot in Impact Wrestling, but man, he has been making his moments right over there. But I have to say it was interesting how this was going to go. But however, it was Brian Cage who picked up the win with an amazing powerbomb onto Willie Mack, and 1, 2, 3, he wins the match. Now we have, as you know, Lucha style tag team. As if you guys are not fans of that, then you guys are gonna miss out. This is between Black Danger and Latigo from Los Vipers taking on Rey Leon and Zoker. So I don't know much about the second team, Rey Leon and Zoker, but they were very impressive to be honest because I am familiarized with Black Danger and Latigo because Black Danger I seen him with La Rebelión down with the Crash, and of course Latigo part of the AAA faction known as Los Vipers. but I have to say they were really good, and I have to say the way this match ended beautifully. They did a double springboard 450 splash, double pin, 1, 2, 3. They win the match. Next up, we have Matt Sydal versus Lince Dorada. So, Lince Dorada, I say it was a great moment seeing him. I thought this was a very interesting match because we know these guys can do high flying maneuvers, but it was, of course, Lince Dorada who picked up an amazing victory against Matt Sydal. Now, our main event, we have, of course, the Factory, Aaron Solo, and, of course, QT Marshall taking on the Lucha Brothers. They even decided to attack them, take this outside the ring, try to prove that they are the best luchadors, in their opinion, but they decided to be despicable by removing the mask of Penta in order to win. And then, of course, he goes out saying he is the best luchador. We all know that's not true. They're full of it. However, as soon as the Factory left, they were the Lucha Brothers were viciously attacked out of nowhere by Rush and his dad, Bestia del Ring. We don't know what's the purpose was, but you can tell there's a bit of a rivalry between both sides. It would explain the whole thing. So, what did I thought about the show? It was pretty good. Now, this is the first time I actually seen this. And now, if you ask me, how can I watch this? Well, simple. Just go to watchprowrestling.org. It's right there. So, you might look it up on the independent section. But yes, that's pretty much where you need to go. So, I think that's pretty much it right now with Republic of Lucha. Let's move on with AEW Dynamite. Okay, AEW Dynamite's Grand Slam. Once again, they're back at Arthur Ashe's. You know, this is one of the biggest events they like to do when they're back in New York. It opened up with the Ring of Honor World Championship between the challenger Chris Jericho and the champion Claudio Castagnoli. Now, keep in mind, this was a title that Jericho was right. He never held it. However, the obvious thing is Jericho doesn't know the meaning of Code of Honor. He refuses to shake the hand. So that's pretty much the thing. He tried everything to put away. But the one thing that was surprising is he had Floyd hidden, but somehow the Swiss Superman was able to stop it with his bare hands. Now, he was about to put him in a maneuver, but apparently Jericho outsaw it. But the ref did not see what happened. Basically, Jericho low blowed Claudio, and then he gave him the Judas effect. 1, 2, 3. So now the Ring of Honor title is now tainted with dishonor by Chris Jericho. So the obvious question does remain now: who is going to dethrone Jericho from that title? Well, we'll just have to wait and see. As you know, the Jericho Appreciation Society celebrates. Daniel Garcia doesn't seem like he's up to celebrate, but he was there anyway. Now, our next match, we have, of course, the AEW World Tag Team titles. We have Swerve in Our Glory, Keith Lee, and Swerve Strickland against the Acclaim. I thought this match was incredible. There was an amazing moments that I enjoyed. Not to mention where Max was trying to do things on his own without Bowens. But of course, there was the moments where, of course, as we know, we have seen in the past, Lee and Strickland were not on the same page, but Strickland accidentally hit Keith Lee with the boombox. But however, while this was happening, apparently Daddy Ass got involved and gave him the famous sir on Strickland, giving time for the Acclaim to make the final touches until Max Caster applied the mic drop. 1, 2, 3. Now they are our brand new AEW World Tag Team Champions. Now, however, this has also caught the attention of one particular tag team, one who is currently number one in the racks, but they never cashed it in, and that is, of course, none other than FTR. However, they were interrupted by the Gun Club, or as we know them, the Ass Boys. It's obvious they think that they should be the ones going for the tag titles. It looks like they believe those guys are done. It should be their time. So we're going to see a battle. Who's going to be the most luckiest team to pursue these tag titles? That's what the Gun Club wants. Now, Tony Schiavone was doing a little interview, in the stage area with Wheeler Yuta to talk about the main event. However, it was interrupted with MJF trying to say something, so they were going back and forth about it. But of course, MJF decided to push some buttons, and then Wheeler sucker punched him. But of course, MJF headbutted Wheeler. But of course, Tony Schiavone tried to stop it, but MJF was so despicable he decided to shove Schiavone, telling him he had no right to touch him. Now, of course, Wheeler Yuta shoved the opponent down, but of course, Stokey Hathaway sent his big lackey Morrissey to help, and of course, he used the diamond ring to knock out Wheeler Yuta. You can tell by the look of it, Wheeler Yuta is going to get some payback sooner or later. But Tony Schiavone did say, hope he gets fined, but he knows that MJF doesn't give a damn about that because he only wants one thing in mind, and that is the AEW World Championship. Now, back into the other interview with Lexi Amir. As you know, Jade Cargill and the baddies were there talking about Diamante, but of course, Diamante introduced her to her friend, someone that, of course, Cargill knows, and her name is Trina. She was a bit of surprise to find out that she knows Diamante. So basically, she did not even see it, so looks like this is one of those things where it was pulled the trigger by Diamante. So we'll see on Rampage when this match takes place. Now, our next match is the AEW All-Atlantic Championship between Orange Cassidy and Pac. Now, keep in mind, these two have ran into each other. Now, Pac did not want this match to happen because he felt Orange Cassidy was beneath him. Now, keep in mind, over the last, since AEW started, we have seen Orange Cassidy. Don't underestimate him. He may look what he looks, but don't underestimate his ability. And I think that's one thing that many fans like about Orange Cassidy, because he may look like a wimp, but he's cool in his own right, and of course he knows how to do this. He even knows how to get out of it. But however, Pac was able to find a way to outmaneuver him, this time by using a hammer. Ref didn't see it, but he did pit him in 1, 2, 3, but the ref was becoming suspicious. But the obvious question does remain in this matter. We do know there is one person who wants the All-Atlantic title, and that is none other than Ethan Page. So the real question does remain now, will he make that good on his promise? Next match is the AEW Interim World Women's Championship. Britt Baker, Serena Deeb, Athena, and Toni Storm. I thought this match was great. So basically, it was going to be amazing how it's going to go. However, the obvious question is, we do know that Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker have not been on the same page ever since they have spoken to each other since All Out, and of course in that. But, however, Athena threw in a few good moments there, but however, it was Toni Storm that did a crucifix counter onto Britt Baker to win the match. However, Britt Baker, who did not like it, and then of course, Jamie Hayter decided to help Britt Baker to take out Toni Storm. Now when she was about to apply the lockjaw, the world shook once again with the biggest surprise. Sarray, formerly known as Paige. Britt Baker acted like she's seeing a ghost. I have to say, I like how this whole thing, I know everybody knows this is going to be interesting for the women's division. But what I do like about this, with story-wise, with Sarray and Britt Baker, is simple. Britt Baker has always proclaimed that she's the one who runs the division. But now she has someone who's a bigger star than her coming into her territory. But the real question is, how would Britt Baker take it? I'm sure she's going to not like this, the fact that Sarray is here stepping on her toes. But Sarray doesn't care, because we all know what she says. This is her house, and she's never wrong. So we'll see about that when it goes down. Now, we see a little clip with Darby Allin with the body bag. And then he takes it around the street, finds a cab, and then he tells him to head to Arthur Ashe. So this is more of a quick message to the House of Black. As you know, Darby and Sting will be facing Brody King and Buddy Matthews at Arthur Ashe at Rampage in a no DQ match. Now our next match and final is the Grand Slam Tournament of Champions Finals for the AEW World Championship between two members of the Blackpool Combat Club, Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson. However, MJF was watching this in his own seating section with that big ass chip that he had Stokey Hathaway take down in order to make good on his promise. But of course, MJF doesn't care who wins because he knows he's seeing two men destroy each other. And he doesn't understand this is how the Blackpool Combat Club works. I have to say, it was some good moments with Bryan Danielson. Now, keep in mind, before all of this, Jon Moxley did stated that he never beaten Daniel Bryanson, but at Revolution this year, we saw that changed. Jon Moxley finally beat Bryan Danielson, and now we're seeing that thing again. So that kind of goes in a long way. But one thing it's clear is, of course, Jon Moxley was able to apply a chokehold in order to win the match. I thought it was great. He is now, I think, a three-time AEW World Champion, if that's the case. But yeah, so now we know that he will be facing MJF. But the obvious question does remain: when will this match between Jon Moxley and MJF will take place? That's yet to be determined, but we do know this is going to be an interesting story to follow. So stand by on that. But right now, I think we're going to be moving to our final thing that we're going to do, and that is news updates. Okay, welcome to our news updates. Give me a minute. I need some caffeine. Anyway, as if you guys are big fans of Got to Move or Choco Pro, you may have heard the big announcement coming from Yuna Mizumori. Now, those who don't know yet about that, this is what's going down. As of right now, by the 29th of September, Yuna Mizumori is graduating from Got to Move. Now, let me make this perfectly clear for people, because in the past we had that same situation with Marika Kobashi when she graduated from Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling back in April. Now, this is not meaning that they're retiring. That means that they're moving on to greater things, going to other locations and all that. Now, this year we did witness the graduation of both Nodoka Temna and, of course, Marika Kobashi. Now, both of these young ladies graduated from from Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling. However, Nodoka Temna made the choice to retire. Now, Marika Kobashi hasn't retired. The reason behind that, she made it perfectly clear on her Twitter back then that she was only taking a break from wrestling to focus on her studies in college. Now, yes, some of these girls in Tokyo Pro Wrestling are still going to school. That's the whole thing, how things work down there for them. So that's the reason. I mean, I still follow her on her social media. I know she still talks to many of her friends in the wrestling business. But it's common. But for Yuna Mizumori, she felt that it was her time to go. It's time for her to move on. But she did indicated that once she's gone, she will be her status as a wrestler will be mostly as a freelancer. Now, she's not looking for a big time contract or anything. I know recently I did review. She appeared in Pro Wrestling Wave for the September 1st event. She has appeared in many locations, so you'll be surprised. But however, on the 29th of September, there will be a final appearance of her on Got to Move, with her having her own show called Tropical Night. Basically, this is going to be at the Shinkiba First Ring. It's also in the Tokyo area. But basically, the main event is going to feature her taking on Emi Sakura, which is going to be a good match. But there'll be other matches that were announced. We have Balinaki versus Coyote Yonoyama. And of course, we have Chiko Shikawa and Sayaka taking on Mei Shiruga and Haruka Omisaki from World Women Pro Wrestling Diana. Now, for our GCW Japan update, It was announced for the Planet Death event taking place on the 26th that the GCW Ultraviolet title will be on the line. So Rina Yamashita will be putting that title on the line against, of course, the Southern Psycho, Matt Swerve. This is going to be one killer up match. But other matches that were announced for this particular day, we have, of course, Masashi Takeda taking on John Wayne Murdoch, and then, of course, Violento Jack taking on Cole Broderick. Now, for JCW update here, now as you go, there's the Jersey Championship Wrestling. As you know, by October 9th, we will have, of course, the JCW versus the World. I did mention certain names. Apparently, they already announced for a match on that particular day. We're going to have Jonathan Gresham versus Alec Price. Now, our next update we have is Circle 6 for their upcoming event on the 22nd of December. This is going to be their first time. I think they're going back to Houston, and it's going to feature the return of Arrow Boy in the Everything You Couldn't Be event. So that's going to be interesting to see. Now, those who are GLEAT fanatics, you should know it was announced by their Twitter page that G Pro Wrestling version 35 will happen on the 25th. Now, it's still unclear if this is going to be live or they're going to tape it and show it on another date. So we don't know. Now, those who know this or not, I have to say I'm really surprised about Jake Something, but I have to say I'm very happy for him for what he put out. He actually retweeted a post that he did back in February 1st of this year. This one is about suicide prevention. And he made a statement on this on Twitter, so let me pull it up for you guys. So this is very interesting, very touching stuff. For so long, I've been fighting this depression and my own personal demons for a lot of reasons. To cap all of it, last year my father took his own life. I was left with verbal suicide note over voicemail from a call I ignored. Finding my dad in the hospital in a coma, sitting with him for days until the decision had to be made to pull the plug. The guilt, the pain, my own mind consumed me. For so long, I did not like me anymore. Waves of intense depression affected every part of my life. For the past few weeks, the last few days in particular, I sit here right now. Now that I can finally say I feel good, I finally feel me again through that therapy, journals, friends, and family. I finally feel like me again. It's been such a long road, and where many times I didn't think pull through. I know there will be down days. I know there will be struggles, but I'm ready for what the world throws at me. Don't give up. You're stronger than you know. So, as you know, this is suicide prevention timing. It's very touching. I mean, I understand what he's going through. It's not easy. You know, I know there's family issues, things like that leads you to this, and we know he's doing okay. We have been seeing him doing good right now, appearing in other locations, uh, this and that. But I did not know about this, but I'm glad that he was able to share it with everybody. Those who know, I know we all should be proud of him that he is getting better and that he is working on himself once again. And of course, he did say we are stronger than we are. So don't let something like this get into our attention. That's something we know. We've seen that already with many people. As you know, we saw 2 years ago Hana Kimura took her own life due to cyberbullying. We know friends could have done anything to prevent this, but it didn't happen. All we can do right now is prevent something like this. I was able to stop my best friend from taking his own life because he was being mistreated by his ex, but I was able to get him through that. And that's what I do. I do not try to let my friend feel that he is the guy, this person that his ex claims he is. So if you guys have friends or family that are going through this, reach out to them, try to help them, and I think that's mostly important right now. So thank you, Jake. I think we all need to do our part, and I'm sure we can prevent things like this from ever happening. So I think that's pretty much it. So let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. For our next one, we're gonna have Impact Wrestling. I haven't decided yet where I'm gonna throw in for that. I'm still waiting for Stardom for the upcoming events for the 5-star Grand Prix. As you know, there were 3 events in throughout the weekend that started. We had the 17th, the 18th, and 19th. I just recently reviewed the 17th. I'm still waiting on the 18th and 19th, and we'll see how that goes. And if there's anything else, then we'll see. So I'll just wing it tomorrow or so. By the time this video is released, it's already tomorrow. So I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye. And have a nice day. Bang.